Hi, I'm Antony Ruck. I've been engaged in the assistive technology industry since about 1998, if memory serves. I've served with several of the solutions providers across the UK. Also engaged with organisations like the Business Disability Forum and the standards bodies to arrange awareness and minimum standards for those receiving assistive technology. I've been previous chair and now vice chair of the British Assistive Technology Association, and I'm also the current co-president of DAT Europe, which is the industry representation organisation for the European assistive technology industry. And I've also engaged with the Department for Education, the Department for Work and Pensions on numerous projects over the years, advising on the benefits and life-changing applications for assistive technology. So we were invited to a supplier session by Student Finance England and Student Finance Wales to cover off the latest proposed modernisation of the Disabled Students Allowance. This was attended by, I think, somewhere in the region of 300 individual people dialing into a Teams meeting. And from my perspective, it was very encouraging to sort of learn the motivation behind the modernisation. I think firstly, every sort of system should always be periodically reviewed and refreshed to make sure it's suitable for purpose and to take advantage of improved techniques and services and delivery methods. So I think in the first instance, any modernisation and review always makes sense. Kind of the key drivers that were presented to us were the improved communications and engagement for the student. They've definitely got an agenda of student first in terms of ensuring that it's not the student chasing the supplier or chasing the assessment centre, but rather giving those suppliers of goods and services the opportunity to be proactive with the student and keeping the student informed at all stages, which is great. Decreasing the lead times of the process is another key driver. It can be an awfully extended process leading into 130, 140 days. So being able to decrease those lead times by being able to streamline the system, by minimizing the gaps in the system where people are unsure of which actions need to be taken, will hopefully sort of decrease those lead times, make it a much more efficient service for everybody concerned. As mentioned, it's designed to be proactive rather than reactive, so that the student is receiving the information before they even know they need it sometimes, to keep them engaged and motivated. And I think, let's be honest, I think for student finance, because of the way the Disabled Students Allowance was first enacted and the fact that it is an individual grant, but it is transacted by student finance, but the contract exists between the students and the supplier, it gets awfully confusing. So simplifying those contractual business terms so that everybody knows their place in it and where their roles and responsibilities lie will definitely improve the system moving forwards. All great drivers, in my opinion. The review encompasses several aspects of the current provision of DSA. In terms of what is out of scope, the initial diagnostic assessment is out of scope of the provision, and the non-medical help provision, so your study buddies, your library assistants, your mentors, is also out of scope. Those are sort of bookended on the process. The three bits in the middle are really the parts that are being brought into this review for this aspect of DSA. It's worth mentioning that Student Finance are also reviewing their own internal processes to improve the streamlining and to minimise touch points internally. So that should also speed up the process overall. But the three main points that are included within this review, this modernisation, are the assessment of need, which is the aspect by which the student engages with a needs assessor to understand how their conditions impact upon their ability to study and recommending those reasonable adjustments and technologies. The supply, the support, the insurance, the ongoing maintenance of the equipment is the second aspect that's being brought into this review. And then, of course, for me, I keep banging on about this, but it's critical to me, is the training and awareness at the end. So it's great to get the assistive technology but to know how to most benefit from it and to understand the strategies that really make a difference is key, and that is also part of this review. So the proposal that was presented to us by Student Finance was rather a surprise to everybody who was there. We are looking at Student Finance England and Student Finance Wales. Student Finance Northern Ireland and Scottish Awards are not involved in this process. And the proposal as presented to us is that the England and Wales, encompassing where those students may go to in Scotland and Northern Ireland, would be split into 4 geographical areas. And that will be 4 lots, and then for each lot, they want a primary bidder who will provide the assessment, the equipment and supply, and the training, so that end-to-end process. So once they've had the diagnostic, the assessment, the supply, the training, and then any NMH bolted on the end is end of that scope. So nobody really expected those 3 to be brought together under a single bid. And the 4 regional aspects in this method is quite a surprise to everybody as well. It does hark back slightly to the provision before last of the Access to Work assessment solution. There are some questions that are yet to be asked and raised around what if you've got a student who's studying in Birmingham, but their home is in London. If they have their assessment in London, Birmingham's then out of their lot, who conducts the delivery, who conducts the maintenance? These are just fine-tuning questions that will maybe sort of submitted to SFE to better understand the situation moving forwards. One of the big benefits, as mentioned, of having those 3 lumped together is that we'll streamline the entire process and make sure that everything is a connected delivery. But at the moment, obviously, all the providers within those regions are now scratching their heads and wondering how they can form consortiums or bidding relationships to now approach SFE and SFW to engage with them and deliver the service that's been required of them. So in terms of timescales, we've obviously been issued with the original or the initial suggestion of exactly how this will look. We're now in a period of questions and sharing of information of those who are interested in engaging in that process. So those have been shared with Student Finance to then share with other prospective bidders. From memory, the initial deadlines are provision of that information by, I think it's the 23rd of March, after which it will be shared more widely with the rest of the bidding partners. And the intention at the moment, these timelines always slip slightly, is that by early May, we will be looking at the winning bidders or bidders being announced.